Yo, guys, welcome back. This is 5 weeks in a row. We've been consistent. You know, we almost flaked out today. But
Yeah, somebody was
Free came
sleeping
to the
mad
rescue.
long today.
Free
That's
came in for
crazy.
the rescue, man. So Free, thank you, bro, for joining us
Nah,
for
man, I
part two.
got that invite. Appreciate it.
No, come on, dude.
For
You
sure,
you
for
got
sure,
there's
for sure.
open door policy for you, dog. Come on.
Are you saying I'm part of the Mexican mafia now?
Yeah. Oh shit, is that what we
Hell
are?
yeah.
That's
That's
great.
what Retro was talking about. I don't know. He's saying something about the Mexican
Oh yeah,
mafia. I
I
you
don't
heard
mean,
know.
that? Yo,
I
retro.
guess to
Chill
be
out, dog.
part, and shout out to Crypto because he ain't Mexican, right? But I'm
No,
sorry, the people
he's an
think because we,
honorary Mexican, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah, what
he
is crypto? Yeah, I don't even want to put his stuff out there, but what is crypto? We cut this out.
he's
It's like
I think he's from Nicaragua. If I'm,
shout out to
I'm not
Nicaragua.
even. I think that's what it is. But and it sounds funny because it sounds like I'm making it up, but I think that's what it is. But what I was gonna say
Yeah.
though is because he got some La Prensas, he thinks he's part of the La M
You
over
saw
here. That's
that
what people are
today?
saying,
He
right?
scooped some shit up. He scooped some,
All right, all
Yeah,
right. I
yeah.
see you. I see you, Crypto.
But I don't even know who's been spreading this propaganda for you about the Mexican mafia. I don't even know where any type of mafia is.
Hey
Yeah,
man, I
and
think
I want to
retro.
say I'm not
Just
involved
some
with any
guy
of
from
that.
across the pond, man. You know, from across the pond over there.
I
Yeah.
I just think he wants to be down with
Well,
the
no,
Mexicans. That's
no.
all.
Shout out Retro though. I don't know if y'all heard on the podcast. He said he mentioned he was like on True Blues channel. He was that he's like those Mexicans have some good taste.
Yeah, they all got good
I,
taste.
I was
For
like
sure.
hey man, that's pretty cool. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. He's like, oh yeah, that's a compliment. So no, I'll take that as a compliment for
For
I'll
sure.
take it
sure.
retro. It's also a low blow, but I'll take it. It's kind of saying like
Nah,
you're impressed
See,
by
this is
us
typical
somehow.
elusive. He takes things the wrong way. He's got mad beefs behind the scene. People
nah.
What?
afraid to ask
He
him to
meant
hop
it.
on
He
the
meant it in
channel.
good taste. He meant it in good taste.
No, I know. Yeah, Retro's been cool, man. I've been chatting with him for probably 2 years now. He's a super cool dude, man. So shout out to him and his son. I know his son's
Oh, that's
he's a
right.
professional gamer. His son prior.
He's from, remember that analogy of coaching trees? Like you're a coach and the branches, like people who are extension of you. Retro's one of your like,
Oh yeah, Retro,
oh,
bro.
he's in your
Retro,
coaching
he
tree.
understood it early on, man. Yeah, he picked up on a bunch of stuff,
Yeah, he's
man.
a smart guy.
Yeah,
Funny guy.
yeah, funny and keeps it real. More importantly.
But shout out to Gingy too. I know like that post was crazy, you know what I'm saying? But
Oh
it
yeah,
was
Ginger, he
funny as
got you with
hell.
that one, bro. My bad. He got you
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, but yeah, that's funny. Hey, speaking of that though, I do want to start a new segment, like just going over sales and getting our thoughts on what the stuff is selling for, if we think it's overpriced or undervalued.
Yeah.
But more importantly, because I just feel like a lot of these lists that are going on, like they're not really in order. Like I'll give you an example and shout
Yeah.
out to myself, obviously, right? That's why I'm bringing it up. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. I'm not.
He said,
I'm
"Shout
Wow,
out
not.
to myself."
I'm not going out. No, this is what I
Whoa.
mean by this. Hold on. I'm not going out looking at what other people's stuff sells for,
No,
like,
talk your
and
shit, dog.
keeping track. But I just moved my 24 or 2015 retro box for 4,400 last week,
Some light.
right?
Yeah,
Hey,
some
And
light.
congrats,
I
man.
didn't I
Congrats.
didn't see that in Gingy's top 10 list. That's all I'm gonna say, right? So
Uh,
if anybody that David Joaquin, shout out to David Joaquin. Any of you guys who are conspiracy theorists, here you go. If you guys can
Well,
pick
I
up on
mean, to be fair, box
that.
sales would be a nice thing to track because from what I've heard, I'm new to the card game if anyone knows, but from what I've heard, boxes were selling for half of what they are now. So just to see kind of the box climate and see, I'll wait for the singles. I'm not gonna risk that hit, So you can kind of weigh the odds there on those box hits.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and anybody who buys a box at that level, to be honest, that's hopefully for a sealed collector.
Yeah.
Someone that's going to keep it sealed because you don't want
Yeah.
to your point, you don't want to open up that box and get like a third to a fourth of your value out from it.
Or
Yeah,
just a
man.
long hold, 10-year plan or something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh, for
It's a
sure.
gamble if you open that. Like you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
For sure.
So what's on your mind, dude? I know you wanted to talk about your top three
Yeah, bro. My
tournaments.
top things on my mind. Um the first thing, this is a bittersweet news. I got my Joker this weekend from Mondo 6 scale. Action figure, super clean.
That's the one you
Uh,
posted to your story, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah, that was
dope.
fire.
It has the cool hat face. It has like multiple faces. But Friday, I guess last Friday, um, the poster division was all laid off. The founders were fired. Funko had purchased them. I think either a year or 2 years ago, and now they undid the whole poster division. I mean, you talking about some like history of crazy, iconic posters. Some of the top tier designers when I was in school and in art school, and this is the stuff that inspired us, right? Us art students. This company was based out of Austin, Texas. I think they had a partnership with Alamo Drafthouse. I don't know, elusive. It's probably not a national thing, but over here in Texas, that's like a big time theater cinema.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Maybe it's equivalent for us is like AMC. AMC
yeah,
is
but this is like the cool like that. It give you like
It's like smaller, intimate. It has like a
yeah,
recliner seats. It's like
oh, like luxury.
yeah, it's like a luxury theater.
and they had
Yeah.
events where like they would give you like limited edition like cups and
Oh,
glasses and posters.
that's dope.
Anyway, they were in partnership with with Mondo, and you had some of the guys, and I've told you this elusive before, like graphic designers like Ali Moss, who did like iconic trilogy sets of Star Wars, Back to the Future, Hayao Miyazaki Studio Ghibli movies, like My Neighbor Totoro, House Moving Castle, and just classic designs. You had Tom Whalen, who does like a lot of the Disney. He did like a lot of the Pixar, Monsters Inc. and Toy
Oh,
Story iconic posters, screen printed posters, and then Batman the animated series. Like they had Phantom City Creative did a lot of those and a lot of packaging for the toys and all that. And they launched a vinyl division and a toy division, and it was becoming big. But I guess because finances, whatever happened during the pandemic, Funko laid them off. I'm hoping they don't tear the whole thing down. A lot of artists were discovered through Mondo, and it's just they had art galleries. They did official posters for the Peanuts, which I have two of them. I know I showed you before, Lucy. I got two of them. They
yeah.
did the
Yeah, you used
Doctor
to have those
Doom.
displayed before, right?
Yeah, I still have
Yeah.
them here. The Doctor Doom, the film, right?
Yeah,
Film image
film.
from Kirby.
Yeah, yeah,
The Marvel Mania, I think, is what it's called, right?
yeah,
Marvel
yeah,
Mania.
yeah.
They did those. I know I got Fausto a couple of the panels like they were like a poster, but it was a panel of a Silver Surfer comic. Like they did a lot of dope shit.
I think it was a
And
Francavilla one, right? Wasn't it?
Francesco Francavilla did a lot. Yeah, like he's one of the big artists too. Like he did some Godzilla stuff, a lot of the horror stuff too. And they even did cartoonist kayfabe, the creators from their posters on there for their series. I know what was it, the X-Men
Grand
Grand
design.
Design. They
Yeah.
did that one on there. It's just
No.
iconic, and if you guys want to learn more about it, there's actual like hardcover editions with displaying like the history of all of those posters. But it's just sad. I mean, it's just sad news.
Yeah.
Hope they don't lay off more people. I don't know if they'll keep doing posters. I mean, it seems to be like the cheapest thing to produce, for a company compared to like the other stuff they sell. But I'm sure those three guys, the three founders, they created all those relationships with the artists. If they want to do things again, they might start their own thing again. And who knows? Who knows what happens? But yeah, that was bittersweet to hear. Um, better, better news. The Last Ronin video game was announced in production. I've been talking about the Last Ronin Ninja Turtles. I'm guessing it's gonna be like 3 to 5 years until it comes out because usually that's like the timetable for a video
Mhm.
game. So whenever that's like PS6, Xbox Two, I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm buying one, and
Do we know who the publisher or
we don't
developer
know
is?
yet. Yeah, that's the interesting part.
Yeah,
And
that'll tell you pretty much what you
what
need to
quality?
know in a way.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
quality is gonna be?
To
And
see what route they go. It'll be interesting to see kind of what route they go. If they're gonna go full mainstream or if they're gonna go, more indie based.
yeah, and it's based on the last one. They're using the right source. I mean, if you guys haven't read it, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's dark, and it's Ninja Turtles, and it's dark as fuck. So that's dope. And third thing, I just want to shout out to character collectors out there. You know, I feel like we be taking some strays from some people, and everybody wants to do multiple
Well,
characters. I get it. You know what I'm saying?
what it
Uh,
sounds like too to me, I'm gonna step in here real quick. When you just to be clear, when you talk about character collectors, I think what's happening also is that people have their own definition of what that means. I think everybody sees it differently.
yeah.
What do you see as a character collector? What's a character collector to you?
To me, a character collector is someone who focuses on only one character. Now,
Focus, and what's the word focus? Is that like, can we go into what do you mean by focus?
so
Does it mean I could collect other characters too? But you're the majority is one?
I would say the majority, like your main collection, is one character.
But you can have side chicks, and that's okay.
Yeah, everybody does it. I mean, look, Fausto is the biggest character collector I know,
Mhm.
and he's got Armando, Mando side collection.
Mm.
I have Doctor Doom, but I like Batman too. I got some other stuff. But to me, a character collection, I don't think the definition of having everything is like reasonable nowadays. So I'm just saying, like, you really dig into one character and that's your main goal, and you display, whatever pieces you want from that collection. But I feel like we've been taking a lot of shots, because it's
I
popular.
think that's why, because it's like some people don't see it as that. But to your point, so as long as it's like what, like 80% of your collection is represented by one character.
Yeah, so I mean, look, numbers, whatever, percentages, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna put a number on it. Like, you can do what you want to do. You can have multiple. If you could afford it, that's fine with me. But
But that's what I'm saying. So what stops you from saying I identify as a character collector if there's no number to it or nothing?
I mean, that's probably, yeah. No, that's a good. I mean, look, I think I've been in. My take on it has always been sticking to one character only, and then I started loosening that idea up because I was bored after a while, right? But again, my character wasn't actively being produced, so I don't know. Look,
That's what I'm
everyone
saying.
can put their
It gets
rule. Yeah, it
tricky.
gets
Yeah.
tricky. It's not easy to define if you put it in that way,
Mhm.
but I would say the majority of your collection should at least reflect that character. Now, I hate when people put rules on how you collect, so I get that. Like, I won't try to do that for someone else, but let's not take shots at those people either. Come on, because it's not an easy task. If you think you can just lock down one character, try it. Go after it. Let me know how that goes. She gets tricky. People block you from certain things. There's
Mm.
a reason why I have appreciation for people who have a full collection. They gotta do a lot of maneuvering because there's a lot of nasty games behind the scenes. You know how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
People try to hold shit over your head and charge you stupid money for something that doesn't
I
deserve it.
I definitely like I definitely appreciate as a character collector myself. I like to follow other character collectors accounts, like because when you see that they went so deep that they basically have all the stuff that. So say you're someone that collects multiple characters. Well, sure, you'll see the best of what some of those characters have to
Exactly.
offer. But whereas when you're looking at a character collector's collection, you get to see the entire history, the ups and
Or the
downs,
obscure.
the obscure, the hard to find, and it's something that you don't get to see in someone that doesn't have a focus. So I'm not saying it's good or
That's a
bad.
good
I'm
point.
just saying that that's
It's
what
different. It's just different.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just different. That's a good point.
And that's the point that I've never talked about, but there's hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of research that
Mhm.
goes into it because you have to research everything to find the actual character cards. They're not just out there. There's a lot of hidden stuff, a lot of Where's Waldo cards.
Mhm.
And that's why I put respect on character collectors because the amount of research, the amount of knowledge they go through just to get what they have, I don't think the mainstream collectors do that.
No, I think yeah, everybody has their own focus, but that's a good point. Like I think that you have to have crazy amount of focus to just keep going after that character, especially on the Where's Waldo situations or on the variations of that same card because it has a different trademark or because
No.
the blue there's a different colored font or
Bro,
something. So
it's like the 1975 tops. Most people just see it as one. No, there's a 1 star, there's a 2 star, there's a UK variant for 1976, but for the 1975, there's an acetate test print. Not a lot of people know that. There's a lot of different versions of those stickers, and unless you're going down the rabbit hole and looking through all this information, you're never gonna understand that because it's you gotta be a little bit crazy to go down that road to begin with. It's not for everybody either. Like
Yeah, I
you
think
gotta
that's
have certain mentality to do that, certain focus,
correct.
and it it's not
There's
for
levels
everyone.
to collecting, and not only levels as far as monetary, but to your guys' point, levels of the depth of what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Because there's people that just surface collect as well, where they're into not only a couple of characters, but they're into like several genres. Hey, like I'm a Pokemon guy, I'm a Dragon Ball guy, I'm a Marvel guy, I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. Like, okay, cool, but to Free's point earlier, you're not gonna see. You might see like their top pieces of each genre, but you're not gonna see any like Nerds promo or a Kool-Aid promo
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
their accounts
And in
because
Marvel, like
yeah,
you'll see the jambalayas, you'll see the PMGs, you'll see the popular stuff, the exquisite or whatever. But and by no means am I like dismissing everyone else how they do it. But you guys shouldn't dismiss how character collectors go about their ways either. Like, come on, let's not do that.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah, yeah. I think it just ties back to every. You're probably gonna gravitate towards the level of collector you are, and I think even to this
No.
to another point is even like the content you consume also reflects on how deep you want to go into the character collector because there's a lot
Yeah.
of people that they only like to talk about surface stuff or they're into what's another like you're not gonna learn a lot, except you're gonna obviously gonna learn the checklist and maybe see the different artwork in the set, but you don't learn a lot from breakers, right? Like no one goes
No,
into
you'll
a
see
break
like the
going,
base. Yeah,
yeah,
base and then so like you're not gonna low levels. Like you gotta go study, the
yeah,
NS list, like checklist, and then look for trading card database to see if you spot any other cards that don't have the name of your character. Like it's a different way of collecting. It's not for everyone, but yeah, let's not shit on that.
yeah. It's cool though, man. Yeah, because there's not a lot of people when you meet other people. It's like spotting a zebra. You're like, "Oh,
Exactly.
you're collecting at that level too. That's crazy." And the quickest ways to realize that is when you start talking to whomever. Like, I recognize that after talking to you. I recognize that talking to Free, talking to Norin. You talk to these people, and when they start telling you about things you had no idea about, you're like, "Oh, wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy. You're
The
really going deep."
history of it, I mean, like Fausto brings out like the printing plate for like the holograms from the 90s. I mean, that's next tier level. Like, like I discovered that in 1975, Spanish stickers and like the
On that
stuff you
note,
don't see. Like,
shout out to Manu, another one. If I ever asked that guy for like I asked him a question about something about a wizard cover, the difference between the San Diego Comic Con
oh yeah, the
or
little
the newsstand,
details.
which one was more rare. And he sends me like the whole he gave me pretty much a damn class, a master class on
Yeah.
wizard. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. Like if if he never went as deep as he went in wizard, he would never be able to provide me with that knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it goes to
Yeah,
your
that
point.
that
It's
dude is that is focused. Like
yeah,
there's plenty of comic content creators out there that just go for what we call the key comics. So key comics are like Hulk 181, Wolverine's first appearance, or Amazing Fantasy 15, Spider-Man's first appearance. So there's, for every million people that or rich people per se, whales that can afford major key books, well, like you said, that's the surface of comics. Whereas, Manu or someone that's super hyper focused, they will tell you things about, Spawn or Malibu that you will never know until you do that. Like Doom was saying, hours
Yeah.
of research, tens of thousands. So to me, I do think that if I didn't know that character collectors are getting too much bad name. I've heard some things here and there, but yeah, if they are, to me, man, I see more knowledge you can gain from a true character collector than just the surface key collectors in comics, and that goes for cards too. I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess we all agree on that now. But that's I think that's a good breakdown. A lot of people, again, don't have these discussions on how everybody views these kind of things, or how we. I don't know. It's interesting.
I mean, and it goes back to a conversation we had with Free after last week's podcast when we were kind of talking behind the scenes. Um, when I told him, "Hey, don't buy these. I'm gonna send them to you. Just don't even waste your time on these because I have them, but I'm not planning on keeping them." And he asked me, "Yo, so why'd you get them all for?" It was the
That's right.
knowledge, bro. That was that light bulb moment where like it was the knowledge. I was seeking the knowledge. I didn't see an example for Doom cards, right? I didn't see an example where you have Fausto doing it for Surfer, but that doesn't exist for a lot of characters. Like shout out to Cat Vault 41. You can go to his page and look at all the Captain Americas. Like there are examples out there. And you should utilize these character collectors to like really see the bigger scope of all the years of production in Marvel cards. That was the mission in the end that I wasn't aware until the end when I had most of these. When we did the cards and coffee, I was just missing like a green PMG and maybe like I was maybe 80% done with the Doom stuff. But
Put it that way, elusive. Like, if everyone did the same thing Doom did with Doom, man, the card world would be full of knowledge. Say everyone did it with Gambit, or everyone did it with Storm. Like, and there is
oh,
people, but to the
it
level
would be
that Doom
helpful.
done
Yeah.
it, man, and like you said, Cat Vault. There's plenty of people out there that could put everyone on game that tells you that there's more to cars than just the shiny, PMGs and stuff out there. So that there's plenty of knowledge still to be found.
And,
Yeah.
and we identified those people and we appreciate the information, Lucilla. Man, you did your own research in a total different approach of collecting, but it's the same
Yeah.
amount of research.
Yeah, correct. Just in a different focus. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that makes sense. That was a good breakdown. And look, I'm not gonna lie, like this too. I have pieces that are obscure myself, but I did put a limit, and it was mainly for my sanity, to be honest with you, because I remember when I first got in and I was collecting Surfer, and I started thinking, oh, I'm gonna do kind of what Norton's doing, right? And I'm gonna get like one copy of each card. When I started getting to like the obscure, like German, this, I was
It
like,
gets crazy. It
I
gets
don't want.
crazy.
I don't want to be like in the middle of the night waking up going, "Oh, my blue dot was," you know what I mean? Like
No,
on one, like I can't. It just messes with you, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And yeah, go ahead.
and financially, like it's not smart,
Well, financially, I'm gonna be honest. It's easier than the route I went financially because those pieces are not super expensive compared to like
bro.
if
I
you're trying to
spent
collect Wolverine.
$70 on stickers no one else is gonna pay, and they
Correct, but
just
I'm saying
sit
you can't
there.
even. Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, relatively speaking, I think like people would be okay spending $70 if they really wanted something in their collection.
I mean, but at that time, $70. Remember, I could have had 2 diamonds.
If you found them at that point,
No,
yeah,
at
at
that
that
time there
price.
was Magnetos up there. You hadn't scooped them
Yeah,
all. Like and
yeah,
to give you credit, you were on Fausto's channel or someone's channel giving people game like, yo, y'all should pick these up because
yeah. I
I
was just
might
trying to
come
help.
back.
Yeah, yeah.
I got the
Mhm.
Doom Marvel 75th, the only one I've seen for sale because you said it. I'm like, wait, let me go check. $50, got it.
Yeah.
If I would have used my money that way, I would have required a lot more shiny cards. I would have made a lot more money, but that wasn't my intention to begin
That
with.
wasn't your goal.
That
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't it.
And I respect that. No, and again, going deep, yeah, that's when I noticed, like, I don't feel like doing this, and I've done it before with my Batmobile collection, and that's how I know
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you lose sleep. Me personally, I still tell you this. There's a
Bro,
photo of a Batmobile that I'm missing, and it's not a 1989 one,
it's crazy.
and I've
Yeah.
never seen it ever other than this person's photo.
Look, I
I
got it.
don't recognize
Yeah.
the packaging. I don't understand where he got this. That's how rare and
That's the
obscure it
most
is.
frustrating part when you've seen it and you don't know how to get to it, you don't know where it's at. And
Mhm.
look, I have a folder full of images, especially like comic cuts that I missed. Yeah, hey, I don't even want to talk about what's your
Yeah,
top three,
it's
dog?
like
I don't
being
even want to talk about this.
it's like being a detective and you find a drop of blood and you're supposed to solve the whole case based on a drop of blood.
It's crazy, man.
You don't know who did what, or whose
But
this
if you
is,
stick
or
around long enough, you'll figure it out.
I don't
If
know. I've
you
been on the
keep
case for
searching
10
blue
plus years,
dots.
bro.
uh,
I get you though.
And it definitely helps for, the lesser the tier the character is, I think the easier it could be. So no one's stopping anyone from collecting,
Yeah.
just a really obscure X-Men character. You don't have to go for the Wolverine. You don't have to go
Mhm.
for Storm, but there's plenty of
Not at all.
X-Men cards out there that you can go for that no one else is in. You could be the Doom card for that character. No one's stopping anyone from trying to go and do research, but we get trapped in the high tier class as well.
The FOMO too. Like we get trapped in that. Like it happens to everybody. I had some nice X-Men cards too. Like for a while, it happened to me too.
Yeah, it's hard to not be and then like you said, if the content that's available at the time, that it makes you want that more because you know what I mean. Subliminally, like you're taking in this information, you're like, oh man, I wish I had a piece like that, and then you end up with a piece like that to your point doesn't fit into your collection, but at the moment it was like an impulse buy.
That's why I like to bring these things up, just because we look at other content and they're covering it well for other stuff, but there's some of the discussions I don't see a lot of.
Yeah, me personally, I don't think I've ever said this publicly, but like, again, the way I collect is a little bit different, like to your point. But I feel like you could still take some of what I'm saying and apply it in a different way to the way you collect. But what I ask myself is like, first off, when I want a card, is like, what condition do I want it in? What am I okay with, right?
Yeah.
And then if it's a numbered card, then it's a no-brainer. But if it's a base card, for example, you just have to have all these things in mind, and then make sure you go back and look at that card several times before you jump in on buying the 10 if you don't really love the 10.
Yeah.
Like, and then and don't buy it just because someone put it to pop 1 or a pop 2. You know what I mean? Again, unless it resonates with you, now if it happened to resonate with you and it happened to be a pop 1, then that's just that's a cherry on top for you. But don't go for it for the fact that it's a pop 1, because there's a lot of pop 1 cards that I don't care if they were the one pop across all grading companies, I still wouldn't want to pick up that card personally.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And another thing too, if judging for me with pop reports, if I'm gonna pick up a 9 or a 10, what I usually try to do for the 10s is I'll times the pop report on the census by 3. And if that number would bother me mentally, then I won't buy that card. So meaning if a card's like a pop 30, in my mind, I go, okay, what if it goes to 100? Is that still cool for me?
Yeah.
For what I'm trying to complete?
Right.
Because again, I don't know, for me, we touched on this, on the last episode, which was about having, if everybody has it, to me it does lose something special, and I've noticed that in my collection more and more. Doom's the same way.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I had a big Pokemon card that I recently let go of, and it was the Grand Party PSA 9. It was a Japanese promo, the double black star promo. And it was an awesome card that it was, I bought it early. I wasn't in it because, I was hard holding it because I was down on or anything like that. I had got into that card for like $250 and it was worth $1,000. But I remember the pop report grew to over 200 PSA 9s and over 200, just under 250 for PSA 10s. So that's a good example, by the way, which is something else. If there's a disparity between the two of 50-50 or close to, I always buy the 9. Because to me, why am I going to pay way more for the 10 when there's almost the same amount of copies? That means that the grader is it's a coin flip, so I'll take the 9. But that's, I just wanted to go there with that I noticed what the pop went to, and I was like, hey, it doesn't feel that special to me anymore. A lot of people own it. And I also don't think it's worth that anymore for that same reason. Like, I don't think it should be worth $1,000 when there's 200, and that never happens in Marvel. Name a card that's out of 250, and if let's say it was numbered, a card out of 250 that sells for $1,000. Go ahead.
No, it's like close. Yeah, masterpieces at 250, but no way close. No,
exactly. So it doesn't make sense. So
the market is so small. Yeah,
correct. So I don't know.
And even when it's small, like, again, I have 4 diamonds. I got tired of it too. So it's just wild. Yeah, we just got super bougie with it after 3 years or 2.5. I don't even know how long we've been collecting, but yeah.
The pop reports coming from a comics perspective, when we talk about pop reports, we're talking about CGC. Sure, there's CBCS, but pop reports from CGC to CBCS are like 10 to 1, in terms of reports. So I'm just kind of curious: is PSA the same way to every other, or is BGS
Mm,
basically half and half? Like, what would y'all say? Like the pop reports, the spans from y'all's years of research, like the distribution of the pops, like because there's SGC, BGS, PSA. Now there's CGC for comics, bro. It's just CGC. Sure, there's CBCS, but I
yeah,
say it's 10-1. What about you guys for cards?
That's a great question, man.
that's interesting. Yeah,
I've seen. I mean, I would say that it really depends on the set.
yeah,
I'll give you
yeah.
an example. So for 1991 Impel or the 1990 Impel set,
90. Yeah,
it's
PSAs.
PSA is maybe like a 10-1 or maybe a 5-1,
Yep.
probably like a 5-1 for Beckett. But like the 92 Marvel Masterpieces, I think it's more like a 2-1.
Yeah,
So
because
on
there's a
certain
lot
some.
of old school BGS
Mhm.
collectors that were heavy BGS. Even for like the high tier PMGs and all that, you would see a lot of BGS slabs. I think PSA was relatively new for that in the last couple of years, but yeah, it depends on the set. And now, like modern sets, I don't know because CGC is getting a lot of submissions. I don't believe the pop reports are available yet, or what they call the census. Um, but that's going to be interesting to see, what modern sets ratio towards each grading company is.
Yeah, moving forward, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we don't know what that's gonna look like, but
Yeah,
yeah, to your point, I think it's because a lot of collectors early on were having to Beckett. Shout out to Turkey Birdies. Shout out to obviously Michael Seltzer from Cold Card Life. Like that's why a lot of these 9.5s are around because they were the ones grading them, you know?
yeah, Philharmonica.
Yeah, LaMonica doesn't really sell much, so you probably you I mean it's
Yeah,
eight
no, no.
fives.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
but
Right?
yeah,
he,
I guess what I was getting at is like as a complete outsider to the card world from a comic, I kind of like are pretty hesitant when I see someone say pop one because I'm like, well, are they talking about PSA? Are they talking about across all grades? 95% of the time, I don't ever see them mention across all grades. Whenever they say pop one, they're talking about, you know, a grading company specific, in my
yeah,
opinion,
yeah, yeah.
is what from what I can tell.
Yeah, when they
Yeah,
put in the listings, it just depends what slab they have it in. That's what they're referencing.
and
Yeah.
sometimes to a freeze point, it gets confusing because some people try to manipulate people into buying, obviously they're selling. So they're not lying to you, but they are deceiving you, right?
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah,
they'll right? Yeah,
yeah,
you like that, right? So
yeah,
and
yeah,
this is why, because they'll
yeah,
put
yeah, yeah.
they'll put pop one
Well, their
and
truth
most
is
people,
a half truth in there, though.
yeah, most people think pop one means there's only one PSA 10 or one in the it depends on exactly. Everybody means it in a different way because sometimes people you'll see the listing is for a PSA and it says pop one. Does that mean
Yeah,
pop one across all grades to the freeze point, or does that mean pop
It could
one
be
in
10
eights?
SG. It could be 10 pop or SGC or BGS. You never know. For that card
it,
could have been.
it's funny though because I've seen like some Batman animated cards and I have two pop one PSA 10s, and it's not because it's a rare card. It's because no one's graded it yet.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I'm
also funny too. Yeah.
already starting it, but it is cool to have, and I'm gonna keep those. And yeah, it is kind of cool when you do that though. It's just a different like people who grade and collect grade and then flip what they don't want. Like it's a different experience.
It's different, to be honest with you, but if you notice, like more and more, it's becoming the normal
Yeah,
to where you
more.
have to adapt with the times.
Yeah, I'm
If you want
doing.
to collect that, if you want to, I wouldn't even say if you want, again, not monetarily, but just if you want to maintain the same lifestyle you maintain as far as your collection goes, like the
Yeah,
same kind of, you have to do that nowadays.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's tough.
yeah. I'm doing it with the Batman stuff. I broke open maybe 4 or 5 boxes Batman the animated series. I seen about 50 cards. And I'm just trying to keep some tens and the extras. I'm just gonna list them up for what 15, 25, whatever they cost me to grade, just to recoup some of that money up. I'm not looking to make a profit. I'm just trying to get some of the money back because my whole mission was to get some of those cards in tens.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's when it gets tricky, right? You got people. I mean, I haven't checked with Turkey Birdies in a while, but I think he might have completed that mint set of 1996 Marvel Masterpieces, right?
Oh my
But
god,
imagine that chase. For a while, he was chasing everything in mint or gem
it's
mint,
crazy, bro.
and then he saw how difficult. And think about that. That's someone that was grading probably 10 years ago, right?
Oh yeah,
And for him to say, never mind, let me drop my standard down from a 9.5 or 10 to a 9, that lets you know how difficult it is.
Bro, Johnny Bravo. I mean, yeah, Johnny's
Oh,
been
shout out
doing
to
it.
Johnny Bravo. You could tell by the cert numbers, by the way. A lot of times you could see those labels. If they start with a 2, he's been doing it for a minute.
Years, bro. And I
Yeah.
think he was one of the first people to get a whole 1990 Impel 10 set. I believe so. I'm not crazy.
Oh, him and his friend, yeah. He has a
Crazy,
friend.
bro.
His friend commented on our video. You know, he was like, "Yo, I have to protect this this hologram investment, man. You can't be putting up."
Oh yeah, shout out to what is that? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something. Yeah, he was defending
The
what you know.
hologram. He
He
had
was
full
honest about it
hologram.
though. You know what I mean? Like he was like,
No,
"Hey,
he was. Yeah,
it
I
is
respect
rare."
that.
He's right. It's rare when it comes to grade.
Yeah,
It's
no
just a
one.
mass-produced
Yeah,
card.
imagine you have a full set. Yeah. Don't slip over it like
Yeah,
that. I got a whole set. You do it. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah,
respect that.
And,
yeah.
and that's something, I say it over and over again on this podcast, but I come from the comic perspective, obviously. But I feel
Yeah.
like in the card world, like at least y'all can get 10s. You know what I mean? That's a good feeling. Like in the comic world,
Mm.
dude, I'm telling you, looking at a 9.8 CGC grade, to me, that's not satisfying. Like seeing a 9.8, that's just saying, oh, it's almost mint.
Yes,
It's
you're too
almost
off.
mint. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not
point
a
too off.
gem. It's just.
It's
It's
like
it's just there, but it's not. And then like a 10 in CGC is for comics is like 1 out of a million,
Yeah.
unless you pay CGC underhandedly to give you 10s, like plenty of companies do nowadays.
Yeah.
Shout out Black Flag. But there's ways to get 10s, but it's not the right way. And that if you're trying to submit yourself and just a normal everyday person, you might get one. There's people that have graded, tens of thousands of books. They probably only have gotten, 2 or 3 9.9s in their life and like 0 10s. That's the kind of level comic grading and how strict they are compared to cards. Or at least from my perspective, what it sounds like is that y'all could at least 10, more frequently than comics ever dreamed to.
I think here's what it really
Yeah.
comes down to. I think it's actually easier to gem comics than it is cards. I just think there's different rules that apply to each, right? Like we don't have the cleaning and pressing, number one. Because I'll give you an example. I'm glad you brought that up with the whole percentage, 98 or whatever. That's because in our head it goes back to OCD, right? You want 100%. You don't want
Yeah,
98,
exactly.
right? It's like that. It's like that damn hand sanitizer that says 9.9 or 99.9. Like, where's that? What's going on with that 0.1?
1%. Don't get
Right?
there. Don't get Lucy started with conspiracies.
No, I'm just that's not even a conspiracy, dude.
Somehow this is
Anyway,
all connected to a bigger battle. Yeah, I get it.
damn, yeah, that's crazy, man. The first thing they're trying to do is make you sound crazy. Look at that. That's step one.
I'm not
What's
trying to
going
do
on?
that.
No, but yeah, where I was talking about the whole 9.8, right?
Yeah.
I've seen 9.9s of a genre that I was looking into, and I was like, man, the price difference that I saw from a 9.8 to a 9, it was around a 3x. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey, is this like a normal range to jump if I buy a 9.9 to a 9.8? And he goes, yeah, that's on the lower end, so that's good if you really want to go after it, right? I was like, all right, thanks. And I go back and look at the book, and I just turn it around, and I have, I'm not a big comic guy, but I know what I could recognize condition, and I seen other 9.8s that look cleaner than that 9.9.
They got the same issues. Yeah.
I was like, what? So it's the same thing again, but we can't clean and press. That's it.
Yeah, some people still play shenanigans with that, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who they are. Well, you know what? Some of them are out there actually. I only know of one. I don't know their name, but I see them when I go to like the Burbank Art Show.
Yeah.
They have like a little booth that
I
like,
don't think they want the promo, dog. That was like,
No, I don't. Again, I don't know their name. My point being
I
is
know
that
the name. I just won't say it
I was
because I
thinking
don't
about
want
that.
to repeat
I was thinking about that
history,
the other day. I was
Yeah.
like, as long as a card doesn't have embossing to it, as long as it doesn't have certain foiling, like the foiling that sticks out, embossed foiling, I think you should be able to press like any card that doesn't have certain characteristics like embossing or certain foiling patterns. It's just a piece of cardboard. It should be able to be pressed. But what do I know? I don't know anything about pressing cards. So
it's just like unwritten rules. But look, people do weird things,
Yeah. There's put it this way. I won't. To your point, I don't want to disclose who, but I've sold a card to someone in the past where I saw the card And I'm not a big grader. I haven't graded yet. I've been focusing. Speaking of focusing and
Yeah.
on just amassing pieces. And then anyway, I sold this particular card, and I looked at it, and I remember thinking in my mind, I'm always honest with people. I even send videos of what the condition looks like.
Yeah.
I'm like, to me, this looks like a 9. That's what it is, right?
Right.
And I saw one minor defect on the card I pointed out, which is what led me to believe it was 9.
Yeah.
Well, the guy ended up getting a 10, and when I went back to look at the defect, it was no longer there. So you know what I'm saying? That surprised me.
Some shit.
But yeah, that's the first time I had seen what you're talking about.
Yeah,
But do the grading companies strictly say you're not allowed to do
yeah,
that?
I think so.
Oh, they do. Okay, because that's the
That's what I'm
difference to
saying. There's
me,
different
yeah.
rules. Yeah, there
Yeah.
are different
No,
rules.
they definitely point that out. It is a big no-no, like even like in sports cars. But there's definitely like elusive said, people selling their kits and shit. Like,
But here's the biggest difference. Let's be honest. Like, say for example, someone looks at a card. The difference between a 9 and a 10, or an 8 and a 9, sometimes could be a little whitening on the card. It could be a little line
Yeah.
surface that I think surface is what people miss the most, because they think, oh, it's centered, it has 4
no,
sharp
you gotta look at
corners.
the light turning angles.
Yeah, but here's the key. If going back to those cleaning or straining the cards, it might jump it from like one grade. A 9 could turn into a 10 or a 9.5 if you cleaned it, that maybe something was wrong with it. But in comics, you could literally buy like a 5.0 that's never been cleaned and pressed and bump it up to a damn 8.0.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen in cards either.
Yeah, they got a lot more free range to
Mhm.
like in cards is looked down upon.
And you
heavily.
got chemists now working on comics to where
Bro, these
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
these
Oh
dudes
yeah.
they
like
can whiten your teeth.
y'all should be doing medicine. What the fuck are y'all doing? Like, this is just paper. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
that's their passion, man. That's their
It's
focus.
crazy.
You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
shout out to them, but it's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, I respect it though, because imagine the amount of research and what they have to go through to get to that level.
Look, if that's the job they want, shout out, salute to them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, those were my top 3. That was the longest top 3 we've done. Go
No,
ahead,
yeah.
bro.
Hey, Free, I know you wanted to talk about, because you reached out to us. You're excited, man. Because since you're newer to cards too, you brought up the annual checklist.
Oh,
Tell us why.
yeah.
Tell us why that's
You got Marvel
significant.
Annual, dog.
Yeah, Marvel Annual. Why is it significant?
So I mentioned it last podcast, but yeah, this is the 2021. Well, yeah, I just mentioned that was one of the things I was hyped about.
Yeah, this was a little high, you know what I'm saying?
This is what we're talking about, the 2021-22 Marvel Annual trading card set that just released. So the checklist was just released today, and
Yeah.
I'm reading down this checklist. I'm scrolling down. I'm trying to see, what's what, because I saw that Doom had an insert. He had what was called the
Doom's
Humble
back.
Beginnings,
Humble Beginnings, yeah.
insert. So I was like, I wonder if he's in the checklist. So I'm scrolling down. Card 1 is Aaron Fisher. Card 2, Arrow. Card 3, American Chavez. So we scroll down to, let's see, number 18. So number 18 in the base set, we get Dr. Doom. So
Damn.
if anyone is not in the know or doesn't care about Doom, this is his first appearance in Upper Decks products since 2016.
And Marvel Annual. I don't think there's a Marvel Annual Doom.
So this is pretty huge looking through the checklist. You got a lot of big hitters: Black Panther, Black Widow. You even got my other guy, Blade. So this checklist is pretty exciting. I don't know if y'all gotten to go through it yet, but it looks pretty stacked. Whereas if you take a Spider-Man medal, there's I'm gonna say there's 75% filler in that checklist. Whereas in this annual checklist, at least you get to see a lot of high tier characters in this checklist, including a very missed out upon character, which I'm excited about, Dr. Doom. So yeah, that's just kind of what I want to talk about. I don't know if y'all wanted to go down the checklist for the parallels or inserts or anything like that.
The other thing, isn't there Surfers back too?
Let's see.
I believe I saw a Surfer card in it, and that's how you know Elusive's not really a Surfer collector, because he didn't even get excited about
just because
that.
I hesitated. That's crazy. I knew
like you've been quiet. Like,
easy read, man.
we talked about this like an hour ago.
Unfortunately, I do not see Silver Surfer on the checklist.
Oh, maybe I'm tripping. I'll take that back, Elusive. My bad, though.
No, I mean, I think to Crypto's point, I'm in the Gambit saga.
Oh, you for sure in the Gambit saga.
Well, that's what's on my mind.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Retro. I'm not gonna lie, Retro. I'm staying strong. I might join Elusive in the Gambit saga. It's dicey, but shout out to you. It's not
Yeah, Retro.
X23, so you're safe for now. You know what I'm
Just so
saying?
you can see, Retro Man, I'm the nice guy. You're starting to see. People think that Doom's the nice guy, but if you guys notice, he's been attacking me
Well,
every show.
why can't we both be nice guys? Why does one have to be a villain?
No,
Just
I said that people's perception is that you're nicer.
maybe it's true though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
give
it
me
could
my
be.
flowers,
Is it
dog.
good cop,
But
bad
you're
cop? Who's the
yeah,
good cop? Who's the bad cop?
but you're a bully, man. You're always bullying me,
I'm,
man. What's going
I'm,
on?
yeah, all right. I'll let you get that off, man. Go ahead, though.
No, you good, man. What were you? Oh, good pop.
Well, I
Good
was gonna say
comment.
Doom. Well, actually, when you think about it, Doom wasn't so. Doom had the hologram, but that was in the beginnings, right? That was the beginnings
That was
hologram. So
beginnings.
at least he'll have. It looks like he has a hologram variant here, also numbered out of 22. So you do get the Marvel Annual Doom hologram as well. As
Yep.
everybody else is limited to 22 copies in this set. So pretty hard. X23 shout out retro. A lot of characters out here for everybody. I think.
Hey,
One of one
speaking of that
Doom.
though, one thing I wanted to shout out to you guys is that if this was in the prior years, I would have said for a Doom card hologram, I'd say I know about 3 or 4 Doom collectors. But now, I don't know, man. I think that there's
Wait,
about 22 of them now.
there was 3 or 4 before? Like, nah.
Yeah,
Dude.
I would consider F Booth a Doom collector.
No, he's got Doom dope ass sketch cards.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You consider him a Doom collector? Honest? I wouldn't. I
no,
mean,
not
shout
bad.
out to Abu. I'm not
But
trying to
then
take
again,
shots.
I never seen this collection in general. You know what I mean? I just think he has nice Doom pieces.
He
If
definitely
that's
has
fair.
the sickest Doom sketches out there.
Well, there you go. So based on that,
That
I would think, okay,
Nar,
maybe he'd be interested in it, right? You'd be interested in one?
he likes 101, so he might pick that one up.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not mad he picked. Look, most likely I won't go after that 101. At least I'll let y'all think that. You know what I'm saying? But we're
It's
talking
just
about,
where you
was
keep
that acetate insert free
right?
that you talked about? Is suspended
Yeah,
animation?
suspended animation.
That's a dope, because I ripped the, was it 94 universe when those were introduced elusive, like back in the 90s, right? I was ripping packs and I was trying to chase the Gambit, one of those, because obviously I'm a Gambit fan that from the X-Men series. But now we get to see Doom in that's pretty dope. Like,
Yeah.
But
that's dope.
not, and also from what I can tell from David Adams, I think the pre-orders are like only like 75, 85. And sure, that's maybe seems like a lot, but compared to what sets are selling for nowadays, man, it's like
Yeah.
$300, $400 for a set. So to me, it does seem like a kind of an entry level product that's not too bad to rip if if you had a few bucks to throw at it.
Yeah. I mean, if EPAC is not, if they don't fucking pull Spider-Man metal like they did last time, I'll grab a couple packs too. Just I do want a suspended animation. I might even chase a 10, because that reminds me of my first experience chasing that Gambit when I still hadn't chose a character by then. But I love that part about it. The other stuff, I'm not sure. Those booklet sketches seem to be pretty dope. Was it Mr. Fantastic versus
Yeah.
Doctor Doom?
Yep.
I gotta research the artist, but
So yeah, just with Doom, I mean, Fantastic Four is back, so that's the whole purpose. Is it's like that was gone, just that was a part of it. So you get Mr. Fantastic, you get the Thing, you get Johnny Storm. I couldn't find Invisible
Invisible
Woman or
Woman.
Susan Storm yet. The Thing's there. So hey, man, for all those FF lovers, this is the pack to get your feet wet into the FF. There is some rumors of some other FF sets maybe possibly coming out in the future, but
Yeah, we saw some blank sketch cards for that for sure.
so this is the first for Upper Deck in a while. So if anyone was a fan of the Fantastic Four Doctor Doom, I think this is a set you should be checking out, or if you want to, I was gonna say they do have a canvas parallels. Who doesn't like the canvas cards? I mean, they're
Oh
nice to look
yeah,
at, I guess.
people
So
people
it's
can go
cool.
rainbow crazy. Like Marvel Annuals is a yearly what's the annual thing, although this one isn't it officially 2021 2022 annual.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
a little
Yeah, they're not,
behind on the schedule. A
they're
little
not,
behind.
they're not like, we're not gonna repackage everything, guys.
That's wild. But look, last year people went super crazy asking ridiculous amount for those added 22 holograms. you definitely gonna catch. You're not gonna catch me going after that Doom like that. Y'all crazy. Y'all can go play with that if y'all want it that bad.
AKA, don't price it high if you pick it up, right? Let him pick it up at a low
I
price.
brought. I would like to see it. I'm definitely not going after a hologram. You know my opinion on holograms. Like Marvel Beginnings is cool, but like, come on. And this is
Yeah.
basically ushering in Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom. Marvel Beginnings is where we start to get serious a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to see even the base art.
bro. Yeah, I want to see some creator, autographs, some comic cuts. Hopefully they don't, look, if they mess up the design, I'm not gonna chase them, even though they're new Dooms. It's not gonna happen. Y'all better have that design on point. I'm not playing around with that.
And do we have any time frame on that set?
I want to say maybe I believe Justin said maybe like a month or two. I'm not sure. I mean, but you know, it it'll be soonish.
That's good. That's good.
Yo, Lucy, you gonna go hunt those holograms? I mean,
No,
you're down with the Doom crew now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna go hard on that, or you just gonna wait and
I'm
check it out?
yeah, I'm gonna see what they settle at price wise because I know the biggest thing I'm gonna look out for besides that, to be honest, is the quality control because that is one of the biggest downsides of the annual holograms is they have really bad edges. So
Bro,
it's hard to even nine those. Like to me, a 9 is solid grade for those. Um,
I
but
could
yeah,
already
that's the
tell you
main
it's
thing
gonna
I'm
be
looking out
bad.
for.
Just assume it's
Yeah.
gonna be bad.
Yeah, especially if it's 2021, 2022 bucks still on it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
especially based off of the last two products Upper Decks put
Yeah.
out, the
yeah.
Flare Ultra Avengers and Marvel Metal Spider-Man. I mean, horrendous quality control. So who knows? But
Yeah,
Man,
but yeah, if
I,
if
I,
people over there grading suspended animations, you hit a PSA 10, hit me up. I'm probably, if they're cheap enough, I'll grab like a stack full of those.
they got the Magneto hologram elusive, so might want to look at it.
nice. Yeah, Magneto's been on a couple, man. I do wonder what this one's gonna look like because the last two were white suit Magnetos, I believe.
Did you
Both
ever
were.
get that one?
No, well, the
The
one with the handout,
Wolverine? Yeah, and
the
the
Wolverine.
Wolverine?
No, I had a shot at it and I lost the auction. Shout out to whoever won. That was a PSA 9 out of the 21, right, with the samurai sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted that piece.
How
I
much
haven't been
did
able.
it go for?
It went for something. Yeah, it went for something that you're about to hit me up with a follow, but it only went for 350.
Oh, you didn't really want it.
Yeah, I told you were gonna say something. No, dude, I
Yeah.
just
Nah,
that's
you didn't really want, come on, yeah. You can be honest with the people. They've heard you long enough now. Like, yeah, you didn't really want it. It was nice.
I didn't want it for more than 350 for sure.
No,
Yeah.
that's one that you would go after in the trade one day. I know how you work.
Yeah,
I know you will, though.
yeah, man. I mean, shout out to whoever. If you have one and you want looking for a ruby, let me know.
Well, now looking back at it though, you're always the long game guy. But 350, looking back, would you pay that price now, or do you think that was overpriced? Do you think that that's a good price now? Like looking back.
Your peak
I
prices
think
were higher, no? I want to
no,
say,
I think that's a good price for it because it's out of card out of 20 and you're getting it in a high grade.
yeah.
It was not that wasn't the deciding factor for me or determining factor. It was both what set it was from, where
Yeah.
I'm placing the value on, and also second, the frame they use for those holograms, which is why they're getting the bad edges. It's just not attractive to the eye. It's
Yeah.
not appealing to the eye for me. So for that reason, that's where I think the true value is around that range for those cards.
And to be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
you told me those look nice, and I have seen someone like, I remember Spider-Man Noir that I was thinking about getting, the one out of 21, or I believe it was out of 49. I don't remember at one point, but they don't go full, like the Marvel Beginnings go full bleed, like all the way out. Like, yeah, I don't know why yeah, again, design choices, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm a sucker for holograms, man. But the beginnings is crazy, man.
Up to you.
These are
Marvel now, right there with it.
yeah. Marvel now is I would say one step behind it, but I would say like they were like A class, and these are like code S. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think those are the Grail holograms. I know. Shout out to that guy who commented about the 90s, but
Yeah.
for me, it's
Hey,
the beginnings.
congratulations on the PSA 10 set. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
for
dope.
sure.
But these just look the artwork and everything is just better. I think those have more of like a vintage and like a historical significance. the ones he's referring to.
It's just cleaner to me. But
Yeah, yeah, they're dope, man.
yeah, Doom is back. So well, yeah, they're fantastic for. I'm sure there's fantastic for fans out there. It's safe.
And before we forget, man, because last time Free wanted to talk about this a little bit. Original art, Free. You wanted to talk about this last time.
Ooh.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Do y'all have any experience into it at all?
Yeah, I'm watching you buy stuff, man. That's
No, I've never bought an original piece. I've always been intimidated, to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah,
For
no,
me,
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no. The closest I came to it is and don't start laughing, Doom, because look, I'm telling you,
Oh, let
yeah,
me
it
guess,
was a
Rick and Morty.
no, it was a
Oh, I was
bub.
about to say, because
The,
last time he showed me all these comics, like,
don't
yo,
give
you
him.
never
Yo,
told
what are
me.
we doing here? We're gonna edit this out, man. I don't know what
Free
you're talking
comes
about.
in, and you just showing all these comics, like, yo, your boy, you ain't never show your boy. That's crazy, though. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, man, you made me lose my train of thought. I forgot what I was gonna say. What was I saying?
Original art.
Original art. Oh yeah, the closest I came to it was the Bob Larkin Magneto Fatal Attractions original sketch by Bob Larkin.
Oh yeah.
It was on eBay, and
Yeah.
I missed out on that. That was
Mr.
the only
Sour
thing I've ever
I'm
saw.
not even gonna. Yeah.
No, I mean I missed out on the 2-2 free. That's the closest I've come with, but
Yeah.
that's yeah.
And shout out to Sergio. Yeah, definitely there was a Magneto saga. I don't know if we talked about that, but in the chat we clarified it later. Oh
Yeah, Magneto's
no,
up there.
we were talking about your your Thanos saga.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hey,
original art. So there's plenty of ways to get it. We're either talking about published art. I don't know if you're talking about the published side. Is that what you're kind of talking about, Elusive? Or are you just talking about original art in general? Because there's two main categories. There's original art. There's published art, which means you're buying pages or covers from comic books that were printed out. Think of original art, guys. All the card people out there. Think of them almost as printing plates. They're what's called production art.
No.
They were used in the process of creating a comic. First the illustrator, the artist has to hand draw with either pencil. A lot of stuff's digital nowadays, but we're talking about traditional art, pencil and pen on paper. So they draw it out with pencil, and then either they or another artist will ink it, meaning they put the black lines on top of the pencil lines. Once they do that, they scan that into the computer, and then usually a digital colorist will basically, fill in the colors. It's like a coloring book. So then they put the colors on top of it. They print it out so that people can buy the comics in stores. And a lot of that comic art's using these card sets. So it's something that even if you're not a comic person per se, dude, there's plenty of opportunities out there to where card collectors, guys that's listening to this, like you could potentially have card art that matches your card, because it came from an actual comic page or a comic cover. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. That's published art. There's also the other half of original art, which is called commissions, or it's just called original art. So that's something where you go to a convention or you go online to an art dealer website that represents an artist. You could pay, it's not cheap. You could pay anywhere from $200 to $2,000, and then you could buy a piece from an artist that you really love. Hopefully, a comic artist. Say
Yeah.
say you have a favorite comic artist that did a favorite series of yours. Well, you never know. They might be doing commissions. There's so many opportunities out there to, when basically where I'm at in my whole career right now is that I've gotten so much of the comics that from my character collection out of the way that I have all this freed up money space now. So it's like, where can we, dove out the funds? Well, what's better in my eyes than the originals?
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you think about it, it's kind of like having the printing plates of your cards. Usually there's only one of one for each color, right? So
Yeah.
when you have originals for comics, it's like you have the one of one pencil page or you have the one of one pen page. So usually there's always going to be one of one. So if you're talking about spending money on rare PMGs, out of 100 or out of 50,
Yeah.
you could be spending, that same exact money, if not way less, on something that was used in creation of that card.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So imagine that. Imagine that. Like everyone listening, it's like people might be intimidated about original art, but we're talking about people that also spend money on PMGs or holograms. So it's just like there's plenty of ways to spend your funds, but I'm kind of focused on either supporting artists directly
Mhm.
or even secondhand sometimes, because that at least means that you bought it from someone that did support the artist directly. So you also don't feel too bad that way.
Yeah.
And then it helps them fund their mission on getting more art from more artists. So it's one thing that I talked about in the first podcast I was on last episode. It's one of those. It feels good to support the artist directly. That's a lot of it too. Whenever you can
Yeah.
contact an artist directly about their original art, you ask them. You go to the comic book shops. If you're a comic book reader like me, you pick up the issue. You see who the artist did it. If you like the issue, you can hit up on an IG, dude. The world has changed nowadays. Everyone is on Instagram. Everyone's on
Yeah.
Facebook. Hit your artists up, guys. Hit them up. Chances are either they'll sell their original art to you directly, or they're already signed to an art representation, an art rep. And dude, I mean, if you're contributing to their funds, there's nothing better that you can do. You don't need to give your money to Marvel or DC. They're already a billion and trillion dollar industry. They're going to be
Yeah.
a fine if you're not supporting them as much as you are the artist. Those are the guys that, in my eyes, deserve it the most. Because without them, man, we wouldn't have all this cool art. So
No.
that's kind of my perspective on original art. It's like not only is it cool, one of one, yeah, sure, it's rare, but dude, you're getting the real deal. You're not getting a print out of 200 or out of 1,000. Prints are fine, no hate on prints at all, but if you can afford it, or if you find the opportune, find the right opportunity, and if you spend so much money in cards per month, hey, why not check it out? It could be a cool little avenue to go to.
For
And
sure.
I think that's a dope idea. But I think to your point too, man, I think it just depends on how deep of research you want to do. Because even like myself, uh, if I want to buy original art, I personally, unless I start looking into it, wouldn't even know how to go about it. Like
Yeah.
you've been dropping some gems telling us how to do it, how to reach out to who or what websites have what prints. Those are things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
So that same thing, you got to research that. And if
Yeah.
people don't research it,
You
to
gotta
your
do your
point,
work.
yeah, of course it makes sense to drop 1,500 on original art as opposed to a PMG out of 100 night and day. It just I think they serve their own purposes, each of them. But
Mhm.
for me at least, on the point you made earlier about the published versus original, I'm I'm drawn to the published, but I'm very picky on what published. So because of that, the things that I personally like that are published are out of my price range.
Mhm.
So I rather go original. But if I do go original, to your second point, is I rather be like an AP to me, because the only way I would buy it outside of it being an AP and not being published, and let's say it was like something that you owned that you ordered for yourself, I would really have to be into it. Because if I'm not into it, there's no attachment to it for me. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's no published. That wasn't done for me to begin with. So the only thing is eye appeal at that point, and maybe who the artist is.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
100%, 100%. That's why there's plenty of conventions like because you're in like Cali, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm sure there's plenty of conventions per year that go on, and you could, dude, you'd be amazed at how like low some of these prices are, even for artists that and you see on cards and stuff. You go up there, everyone has it's called tier listing, price tier list. So you could get a headshot, or you can get a bust, or you can get a half body, full body. Dude, they'll knock it out the park for you for a couple $100. You get to support the artist, and like you said, you could get something commissioned for yourself that never been touched, never been seen. That's where the sentimentality comes in, and you won't have to worry about that. There's plenty of opportunities. I mean, Doom's seen some guys that go get some sketch cards and stuff. People are starting to do that too. So
Yeah.
you
It's
don't
becoming
even.
popular. The was it 2.5 by 3.5 sketch size for some of these artists at
Or
conventions? Yeah.
even trying to find some, APs out there that artists are willing to sell to you, or maybe get some commissions from them.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
it's a one of a kind like experience for
It's
sure.
yeah.
very special. Yeah, that's why even I remember when Doom asked me the original question of me saving 3 cards. One of them was my AP sketch from Martinek. for that reason, because it was
Yeah.
done. It was done for me. Like, yeah, you're right. It's a different feeling.
Well, no,
Definitely.
like APs. I mean, so think about it. Getting original art is just like an AP, but dude, you could have it in a. I like to carry them in a art portfolio. It's 11 by 17. So basically, I don't know if anyone's seen my EM Gist original art. So I got an
Yeah,
original
so
art
dope.
piece from EM Gist. That's a
Mm-hmm.
full body, full figure. Man, that's a full. It's on the same exact paper size that they use to create comics and comic covers on. So many people might not know comic books, kind of small, they're about, 10 inches tall or something like that. So, but
Mm-hmm.
in reality, the board that they draw on is like twice that size. So,
Yeah.
most people have never seen it before until you go to conventions. You're like, oh, wait, that's actually a giant piece of art that I never knew existed that in that format.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. You guys were talking about how people are it's becoming more popular to do the sketch with a 3 by 5 or whatever, or whatever the measurement was, right, for the sketch cards. The reason
Yeah.
what I was gonna bring up, I think it's because one thing that I'll say that I see a pro from cards versus comics is storage.
Yeah.
Like I could store so many cards a lot easier, and shipping is even the second biggest pet peeve. Like not only is my storage a lot less for cards, but if I have to ship something to someone, it doesn't, cost me an arm and a leg. And then you have to make sure it's just different packaging, right? I could only imagine what people go through that sell only comics. But
Yeah.
my point being is that it feels, at least to me, and I seen both. I got a commission done for my son a while back for a Dragon Ball Z card. I got him at I think it was a 11 by 15, or I forgot the size, but
Mm-hmm.
I framed it for him, and it's not the same as sketches to me. Like that's cool to be displayed, those bigger sizes, if you display
Yeah.
them kind of like Doom's poster.
Yeah.
But again, the other advantage for that size of sketch card is it feels more intimate when you have it in hand than it does
Yeah.
as a display piece.
Yeah. It's something about the trading card format that's more personal to me. I don't know if that's for everyone feels that way, but I definitely
Yeah.
feel that way. And it's yeah, you could display
Especially, like if you put in a one touch, man, something about one touches just
yeah, yeah,
hit
yeah,
super
yeah.
hard.
And even
Yeah,
like graded slabs, like BGS has one of the nicest ones. Like,
that one
eh,
touch.
yeah, bro, that Blade
Yeah.
sketch, nice. Yeah, you gotta deal with Blade when he comes. Yeah, damn, for you gotta go. You got two characters you gotta go after.
Now, speaking of that, though, Free, how deep are you trying to go with these characters when it comes to cards? Obviously, Doom over Blade, but even with Doom, like,
Yeah.
is there Doom cards that you've seen that you're like, yeah, that's not, I don't want to get something like that, or
Man, like the only problem with the all the pieces I've been getting with original art, man, I don't know if I have expensive taste or what, but man, it's like
Yeah, happens
that's
to
that
us.
that's taking
yeah,
away some focus on cards right now. I did
Yeah,
mention how Doom gave me that Doom binder, so dude, he gave me a lot. He probably gave me like 75% of the dope Doom base cards. Like I'm not even joking. So
yeah. I give you a bunch of base.
since
Yeah,
then I've filled out a lot. I've got got the Hollow Blast. I've got the 2007 Masterpiece. I got this out of 75. I got the 2011 Micro Motion. So I fill in out a lot, but it's same thing kind of I mentioned with comics. Like you go after the priorities first. You go after the ones that catch your eye. That's what I've been doing. Because if I were to go down, like Doom was saying earlier, $70 worth of stickers, it's like that doesn't sound like a lot, but
no,
it adds up quickly if you're trying to
that's
go full on character collection mode. So instead of
yeah,
the way I did with comics, I'm not necessarily doing the same with cards at the moment. Uh, and it's mostly due to me spending so much on original art because I've been stacked. I've been going back to back to back, but it's because like there's so much that I wanted to get out the way. Um, like and also opportunities that were brought up to me. Dude, I was that we talked about Matt
yeah.
DiTulio the other day.
That's a
Man,
cool dude, but when he sends you those images, it hurts, bro. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, so he sent me a few Doom pieces, and man, he sent me some sick pieces that it was so sick I had to pass on Doom Bianchi original. Like that's how sick some of the
Yeah,
pieces he was
yeah,
sending me. So when you get to that, it's like you go after the artist that kind of worked on your comics, and that kind of brings more sentimentality to it. That's the artist I was like getting into. I could also reveal some information publicly since I was talking I was talking to Retro on the True Blue podcast. I was like, hey, Blade's not a virgin, all right? So I was like, Blade has a daughter, man. His daughter. So apparently, Blade had a daughter this whole time. No one really knew. We heard rumors in
You see,
production.
Retro, do your research, bro. It's pointless.
We heard
Go ahead.
rumors about it like coming out in 2015. They were supposed to come out with this series a long time ago. It got squashed and all that, but finally they're coming out with this series with Blade the Vampire Hunter's daughter. Um,
yeah.
and so yeah, so Blade's had sex at least once. You know what I'm saying? So me and him have a lot in common. It's but no, also Bloodline. His daughter does have a series. So in issue 2, they meet for the first time, and at the end of
Mhm.
issue 2, if no one's been keeping up with that series, I checked it out. I'm a massive Blade fan. I have every single Blade comic book in existence virtually. I have like 99% of Blade's books, all covers, all variants, all issues. He has 5 solo series. I have them all. So knocked out all those away. Of course, I wanted to check out his daughter series. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I like the art style. It's almost like an anime / manga style art style. It's really fresh and
Mhm.
fun, kind of really fast moving. Got a very unique style, artist out of Italy. And I found who did it. I went to her Instagram. I saw that she posted the full issue 1. I waited on it. I wanted to wait to issue 2 to see where Blade was going to meet his daughter, and he did on issue 2. In the last 3 pages, you see Blade call out to his daughter for the very first time, and you see their very first encounter, and she attacks her own father because she's basically been turned into a vampire at that point. So I was able to
Mhm.
talk to the artist and secure those pages, which is the very first encounter between Blade and his daughter in Marvel Comics history. So that's
Crazy.
something that you can't say that about every. You can't go back in time and get Jack Kirby's first
Oh
appearance of
gosh.
Captain America. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like something
Yeah.
that might be out your price range, but what I'm trying to say is there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
If you're a niche Blade or Doom collector like me, that's what I'm focused on. You might hate Blade or Doom, but at least you might like X-Men. X-Men comics are coming out every week. You might be
Yeah.
able to hit up the artist directly on Instagram and get the first meeting of Gambit and his daughter if you ever. I don't know if he has one or not, but something like that. So kind of what I was just going full circle of like original art. It's cool because you get to find out, you get to even perhaps have an opportunity like I had, which is Marvel Comics history,
Yeah, you own a piece
on
of history.
page. So that's the way I look at it. There's
Yeah.
something for everyone. If you don't want to spend too much money, you can go to a convention, pay an artist $200 for an AP, like you said. But I just wanted to put that out there as
Yeah.
saying that's kind of what I've been focused on right now.
They go hand in hand. Marvel cards, Marvel comics. Like, look, these are all collectibles.
Yeah.
Even shout out to all the action figure collectors. Like, bro, this is a whole nother world over there.
Mhm. Yeah, there is.
You
A
know?
lot of custom action figure people too.
Ooh, and they do it like they buy. There's like a whole lingo
They pimp
baskets.
out those figures like no other.
Crazy.
They make them 10
Hair
times better
pulls,
too.
3D printing. Grab a body from this. Grab the shirt from that. Da, da, da. Like, it's different.
They make their own one of ones.
Yeah,
They do.
exactly.
And some produce them.
Mhm.
They print them at home. They
And
paint
do
them.
limited runs.
Run a little Etsy shop.
Yeah.
Yo, there's a drop. There's a wave. I'm gonna do 50,
Yeah.
and it's a deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah. The 1/6 scale community is crazy, man. To me, the only thing that's
1/6
number
is
one,
pricey. Yeah,
number one,
1/6
it's
is.
expensive, but also again going back to storage, that too. Then you need like 10
Mm.
IKEA shelves just to store a
Look,
Yeah.
handful of.
as
You
long
know what
as
I mean?
Mondo keeps bringing out Batman animated,
What's that scale? What scale is that?
it's 1/6.
1/6 too?
It's 1/6. The one I got.
Okay.
It's 1/6.
Do
Now
you
the
have it
most
on?
common, I believe, is 112, which is like 7-inch figures. where you have like the Marvel Legends line and like the Star Wars from Hasbro, all that.
Mhm.
But 1/6, yeah, it's not everyone's into it because it is like storage and like space is premium for that stuff.
Yeah. Hey, Free, the question I was gonna ask you is, when I was asking about the cards on Doom, and you were like, which ones you were going after. I know you
Mhm.
got other priorities, but what are like? Can you give me at least one or two of ones that you saw just through your research that you really wish you had in your collection now?
Mm, I think we talked about it before, but that Marvel Beginnings hologram. But I mentioned the
Mm.
fact is just because we as collectors, and this probably goes for everybody. It's like we want what we can't have. Whenever you notice a card that you check on eBay, there's 0 sold listings in the last 9 months, but there's also 0 for sale listings. It just makes you really kind of curious about that card. You try to do the research, you try to go off eBay, and this is little things like that the
You
further
guys call
research.
those ghost comics, right?
We call them ghosts in the comic world.
Mhm.
I call them ghosts. I didn't invent the term, but yeah, we call them ghosts, man. It's just one of those things. So that's an example. The Marvel Beginnings hologram. Um, I'd have to check my checklist. I mean, there's still the 2013 base I need, or the insert, or the chase card for the
You did
2013
mention that. I
base.
Metal
remember that.
That's
Yeah,
the
Metal
uh, that's
Blaster.
that's the
the metal base. Yep.
yeah, the
I have
metal, the
I don't
metal.
have a metal blaster, but they are pricey now. Let me say something to my fellow Doom collectors out there. You might be looking for a Doom card, but I've been getting to it quicker than anyone. Every Doom card, almost every. Look, this is not to brag or nothing. Just being honest, because I have so many blue dots from. Because I know what I'm looking for. I see it all, people. I see it all.
Oh, get off your chest. What they do
You
to
know what I'm
you?
saying? That nice PSA 9. Shout out to the homie who got that. 7/5
Oh,
gold border. I saw that.
oh yeah, yeah. You're
Saw
good.
that. I didn't need
I
that.
seen that too.
I'm glad he picked it up. Shout
Yeah.
out to him. I don't
But I
know
think
his
we
name
both
right now.
congratulated him after.
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
that's just giving you a nod. Yep, I saw that. Nice
Yeah.
move. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if my boy Free looking for something, you best believe we're gonna see that first. Don't even worry about it. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Shout out to OC GHP.
Yeah, he's got some cool sketch cards on his account.
Yeah, he does. He does have
Dope
some
stuff.
nice ones.
Dope stuff.
So shout out to you, man.
He picked up that.
That PSA 9, yeah. I sent an offer, and I think his offer was either higher or he bought it at full price.
Yeah. See, another example. But Lucid really didn't want the card. That's all.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, because yeah.
You know what I noticed about the 75th border too? It's like a lot of cards centering is hard to. This card not hard to tell on centering. Boy, that
No.
that frame will tell you everything you need to know
Yeah,
about centering.
it's
Like a lot
crooked
of
as
it, yeah.
fuck.
So that is
Yeah.
such a.
Unfortunately, that and the Spider-Mans are the worst centered.
Right? I know Doom, like that 9 is the first actual kind of centered one I've seen in a while. Like I've never seen another
The
one.
9,
I
that's
know, shout out to Sergio. I know he's got a little stack somewhere. I don't know what he has, but
yeah.
shout out to the homie.
Coipel, and a comic artist, Oliver Coipel.
Yeah, I have a Magneto from 2015 Retro Impel auto, and it's
Oh
by
yeah.
the same
He's got some
artist.
autos in there too. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen too much of his recent stuff, but yeah. That's another thing I wish we talked about this before, but I wish to start giving more credit to the artists also behind the cards, because if you start noticing a trend on your own collecting, you find out which artists are you're drawn to naturally.
Yeah. All right, bro. We're gonna do shout outs. You know how we like to do it. Shout out to DM_legends on Instagram. Posted some dope shit, action figures. He was reorganizing them, showing some Ninja Turtles from Super 7. Look dope. Shout out to that homie. And shout out to Valor, TBC, and them with the roundtable. They did a interview with the Marvel jerks. It was cool, fun time. Free, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, I'll shout out Retro. Retro hit me up after the
For
show.
sure.
I was commenting in their chat. So yeah, we chatted up. Cool dude, retro. Shout out my buddy Blaze of Glory, aka Bog. He's a listener to the podcast. Dope collector.
So, man, yeah.
My homie Crypto or Monster in the Iron Mask. Got to shout him out.
So,
IG Buddy variant section. And then shout out to actually 2 artists, Tom Coker. I hit him up about a Secret Wars cover. He said he doesn't sell his originals. You know, that's I rarely get that from artists that they don't sell their originals. But you know what? I tell them, hey man, I respect it. It means you value your art more than money, which is rare nowadays. So cool to get a reply back on Instagram from Tom Coker, Secret Wars variant cover artist. And also Max Fumara. Max Fumara also reached back to me on a reply asking about a cover. But yeah, it's cool to that IG lets us talk to these artists. You know, you feel like you put them on a pedestal, but you know they're just people. So it's cool for them to take time out of their day to respond to the fans. So yeah,
for sure. Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them, man. My shout outs this week are for Mr. Lee. I'm sure a lot of people know him by now. That's more of me telling you about him if you don't know about him. But he has a crazy IG page where he takes photos of figures or different toys, but he goes and does crazy. Yeah, go to his page. Just go to his page. It's Mr. Lee, and it's with 4 E's on the Lee. And my second shout out is thanks to Free. He put me onto a podcast, Near Nirvana, and they're comic heads. So just learning from them and just listening to them. So I listened to a couple of their episodes about ghost books, and another one about great covers or covers they go over and they kind of rate the cover, each one individually, and gives their opinion on it. So they kind of do what we're doing for cards, you know what I mean? But it feels like they're really about the comic stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, if anyone listening is curious about comics, learning more about comics, cool covers, cool stories, Nearing Nirvana. They have so many shows. Long story short, cover lovers, comic book women. Like they're the real readers and collectors of comics. So I highly recommend that.
Yeah, and my third and final shout out is to the Real Nerd Space. He's a collector from Switzerland, and he collects Beta Ray Bill. That's his probably his main PC, but he's a super cool guy, man. I've been following him on IG probably for 2 years, and he has a dope collection. He also, collects other characters as well, but I think that's his PC. His main PC is Beta Ray Bill.
For sure. So, and one last shout out, I forgot one. Shout out to my boy Vic making these IG streets hot for a quick second, Shout out to the homie.
Yeah, other than that, man, Free, we can't do this. You see what I'm saying? But, hey, Free, thanks for joining us again, man. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Peace.
Nate.